live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6 o'clock. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, January 8th, 2020. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. And we are broadcasting live from Westfield Technical Academy. And behind the boards, behind the glass, is producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
How are we doing this morning?
I didn't want to get out of bed this morning.
Yeah.
It was nice and warm. And
I know. You know, it's one of those winter days, you know, you just want to...
plus, it's been a long week.
It has been a very long week.
It feels like a Friday to me, but it's not. It's not even close.
And you know what? I think part of it, Pete, is we got a little spoiled because we had those midweek holidays. You know, we had Christmas and New Year's on Wednesdays this year. And
Right.
it just kind of helped to break up the week. So, you know, we haven't really worked a full week in a couple of weeks. So
Yes.
I agree with you. I feel like, oh my gosh, this is, you know, really, we're only halfway through.
Well, I mean, we were firing off with a bang. We had inauguration Monday
Yes.
morning and then into other things. And I had city council Monday afternoon,
Yes.
sort of. And then they had
Yes.
school committee Monday night. And then yesterday was, I don't even remember.
Planning.
Yesterday was planning board, right?
Yeah,
and
planning
just
board.
regular job. And then,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like I also haven't been feeling, punky.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
There's
going
a
around.
rhinovirus or
there's
something like that.
all kinds of stuff going around right now. And this weather is insane. I was on my way in this morning and I heard that it was going to be a low of 17 tonight.
Yes.
But then over the weekend it's going up into the mid 50s, almost 60.
Right, we're going to get a flow of warm air,
Yeah, a warm up. So it's really...
This is the mid-January thaw that we usually get.
Easy.
We've
Yes.
gotten a couple of them already.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
I like it when the winter's like this. You get a lot of snow. You have fun with the snow.
And
then you get a melt.
Yeah.
And then you get more snow and a melt.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I agree with you. I know Jay Pagluka's probably, dying because Jay he's a skier and, he loves the cold and he loves the snow. But I'm with you, Pete. I look
at it from an emergency management perspective.
Exactly. Yeah. And I look at it from a senior safety perspective. And it's like if we can, in between the snow, get some melting and just so that there's not that accumulation so that you have to wait until the end of March for
you
everything
worry about
to
the
melt.
flooding.
Yep.
I worry about the flooding.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's a real thing.
Yep.
But apparently a lot of skiers are still in really
Are
good
they
shape.
okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they haven't got the melt so much up in the hills.
Okay.
And they've been making a ton of snow too. So.
And do we know has Jay reported at all on how Blandford is doing? I know he's.
I'd
keeping
probably
tabs
ask Joe
on that.
Didi because he's out there
Joe
all the
Didi.
time.
Oh, okay.
He
All
runs the food concession out there.
right. Oh, I didn't know that. He hasn't always done that, has he?
Past couple of years.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Very good. So, Pete, we have not. Well, you and I have spoken because
we've seen each other.
We have. We did New Year's Eve together over at the Boys and Girls Club. I was telling Bill Parks I must have been after the road race that I was in Big Y, and it was a couple days after New Year's Eve, and I was on my way out of the store. I had gone through the checkout, and I overheard a woman who was checking out
Yep.
and the cashier talking, and the woman who was checking out they must have known each other. And she asked her, well, what did you do on New Year's Eve? And she said, oh, I took my kids over to first night. It was so great. And she just started going on and on about everything she did at first night.
Oh, that's great.
The Boys and Girls Club and Amelia Park. And, and what ended up, so I turned around to kind of see who was talking. And there was a whole line of customers in the checkout. There must have been like 4 or 5 people in the checkout line. So everyone is listening and now engaged in this conversation. And isn't that great? And it's so nice that Westfield does that. So, I made it a point to make sure that I pass that along to Bill Parks, because it's so easy to get jaded when people are complaining about potholes and snow removal and a million other things that they're not happy about. And it was really nice. She just said it was such a great family event. My kids had so much fun. It gave us something to do.
Yep.
I thought it was wonderful.
Well, speaking about the complainers, I stopped in the mayor's office and I said, I'm really so happy that you mentioned that in your inauguration speech. That if you're going to complain, I'm probably going to read it.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you to come help.
Yes. Step in, because you and I have been talking about that for the 5 years we've been doing this radio show.
Yes.
If you don't like the way things
people have good ideas.
Yes.
He said that. I saw him
absolutely.
yesterday. He goes, I saw one already online. I already contacted the person that made it and said, hey, you want to come help me get this done?
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of just throw the pot shot out there?
Right, exactly. That's exactly it. It's really easy to criticize, and I mean, believe me, I hear it.
Oh, we all hear it.
We all hear it. I mean, I hear it at the senior center. Well, why don't you do it this way? And you know what? One of the things that I say to the seniors is that you are concerned, and I think this is true of a lot of the residents. You are concerned about your 1 or 2 issues, whatever, those issues that are important to you.
Right.
And it's a personal thing for you.
And they're valid.
Correct. I'm not saying that they're not valid. Exactly, Pete. But those of us who are in charge of things we're looking out for everybody. I mean, I've over 8,000 seniors to be concerned about.
Yeah, you're looking at averages.
And so, yes, what your concerns, those are important to me, but so are these people over here and these people over here and these people over here and those people who haven't even walked in the door of the senior center but they're 60 and older. So, and that's what makes our job a little bit challenging. But I agree with the new mayor that if you have an idea or a suggestion or you're going to throw a shot out there, be willing to step up and help us out. We'd love to have the help. So good going.
So far, I'm impressed.
Okay, well,
so far,
good.
I'm impressed.
I haven't seen anybody. I haven't been over to City Hall. I think I've only been over there once since the inauguration. So, but it's only Wednesday.
I mean he's been having. I caught him at the tail end of his day just to sit down and shoot the breeze for a few minutes because I've known Don. I've known his dad forever, so I sat down and shot the breeze before I had to go back to work and go in to do the planning board meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it'll be a new experience, and I think he also mentioned in his speech he's new at this and he's going to make mistakes, and I think people have to realize just because he was a state representative and a state senator, this is an entirely different ballgame, entirely different. And I know people think, oh, you've done that, so this ought to be easy.
Mayor Sullivan, just coming from
Quite
city
the
council,
opposite.
his eyes got opened so much when he just had that transition period where he was the acting mayor for a while.
Yep.
He learned so much, and Ralph Figge said the same thing. He goes, man, every councilor should have to do a month as the acting mayor to really get a gist of what's going on the other side.
To get the feel for it.
He says your eyes get open to a lot of things when you do that.
Yep.
He said, I'll be a better councilor this term.
Yes.
Because of that.
Yeah. Yep. Walk a mile in my shoes. It was so funny. I think that Councilor Figge, I was saying this to my staff when they all wanted to know how the inauguration went. I said it was fine. I have to say, well, 2 things. One is
Sorry about the feedback.
Oh, no,
that was my fault.
Oh, no, that's fine. Councilor Figge was absolutely giddy when he came into that inauguration, having handed off the keys to the mayor's office and having passed the baton to the next city council president. He said, yep, he said, I'll it's gonna be a lighter load. But the other thing I wanted to mention about the inauguration for those who didn't see it on TV, and I assume is it being replayed or video?
It's up on YouTube.
On video, yeah.
I had a little trip. We had freshmen there, so
yes.
Little focus issues, some audio problem, but But
the music. What I wanted to say, the music was outstanding.
Yeah.
Pat Kennedy and Cory Bruno and who was the singer that did the national anthem?
Matty Bissell. That's Matt.
And was
Little Matt, he's 11.
Was he the one that did he sing at the Noble Ball? Was he the same person?
Yes.
He was, because I was telling my
That's
husband
Matt,
Gary
yep.
about it. And I said, because if it wasn't, there are two younger kids.
No, that's Matt.
That have the most amazing voice ever.
He
he was awesome.
His oldest brother and my son played baseball together, so I'm really good friends with his dad and his mom.
Well, tell them congratulations.
Their middle sister is a theater major down in Connecticut at a university in Connecticut.
Well, really, really talented.
Yeah.
But, just all the music, all the way around the band. I know it's the combined Westfield High School and Westfield Technical Band. Super. I mean, the show choir, awesome. I mean, it was just, I felt that the music was just outstanding. It was really well done. And I have to kudos to Karen Fanyon, because, Karen Fanyon, our city clerk, is the one who orchestrated this whole thing. And as we were laughing beforehand, because Mary Lou Najowski and we were in the hallway selling our 350 books for the Friends group, and watching Karen in action. And as Mary Lou said, this is like herding cats. I mean, and as Karen said, I said, Karen, you could be the director of a show, like a musical. And she said, yeah, the problem is there's no dress rehearsal for this, so you're just trying to pull people,
right? Exactly.
Pull them each aside and say, this is what you're going to say, this is what you're going to do, this is when you're going to do it, this is where you're going to sit.
But they could do a rehearsal for that. They could get them together about an hour beforehand, or the day before.
They might
or something.
be able to, but
I don't know if you really want to do it up.
Well, you know what? It was fine though.
It went off fine.
And as Karen said, it always is. It always works. It's always fine.
Yep.
People don't expect it's not a Cecil B. DeMille production, but it was well done. So
I had a little laptop that I had a touchpad, and I was trying to adjust a microphone, and it went. And that's when that feedback happened. I was like, Okay. Mark St. Jean sitting right next to me. I'm trying to recover, and he goes, "That was pretty fast, man. You did a good recovery on that one."
There it is. Well, you know what? All those, whatever the little glitches were,
blips,
I don't think anybody really noticed. So I just want to extend a welcome to the new mayor, to all of the new city councilors, and anybody new or returning to the school committee, the municipal light board, and Kathy Knappich, our sole, Athenaeum trustee, who was sworn in the other day.
Yep.
So best of luck to you, and I would say take the new mayor's approach. If people have ideas and suggestions, say, hey, great.
I think it's a great idea. I'm glad it was said.
Help us out.
Yeah, I'm glad it was said.
All right. Today, I just want to do one famous birthday before we get to our break, because this music has to do with this person's birthday. So it is the birthday. Today is January 8th. It is the birthday of the late David Bowie, singer, songwriter, actor. And I have to admit, I didn't realize that he had passed away. I don't know what I was
really?
thinking.
It's been a while.
I know. Well, 2016. So, yeah, I guess 4 years. He was born January 8th, 1947 in London, and he died at the age of 69, 2 days after his birthday in 2016. He died on January 10th. Rockstar David Bowie's first hit was the song Space Oddity in 1969. The original pop chameleon, Bowie became a fantastical sci-fi character for his breakout Ziggy Stardust album. Out of fear of being confused with Davy Jones of the Monkees, David changed his name to Bowie. His original name was actually David Jones, a name that was inspired by the knife developed by the 19th century American pioneer Jim Bowie. David Bowie co-wrote Fame with Carlos Alomar and John Lennon, which became his first American #1 single in 1975. An accomplished actor, Bowie starred in The Man Who Fell to Earth in 1976. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1996, and shortly after releasing his final album, he died of cancer on January 10th, 2016. So happy birthday to the late David Bowie, and we will be playing his song in just a minute. Couple things going on at the Senior Center, and I'm just going to mention the first one. Well, it's not actually going on at the Senior Center. I put out this plea before, so we're going to continue to put out the plea. We need band instruments. We don't need them at the Senior Center. We are doing this in conjunction with Franklin School. The principal there is they have an after-school band, and they're working really hard at Franklin School to have after-school programs and activities for the students there that are creative and developmentally appropriate. And they have a lot of students who want to participate in their newly formed band, but they can't because they can't afford not to buy the instrument, but even renting an instrument because it is pretty expensive.
Sure.
So if you or someone you know, one of your kids, one of your grandchildren, if you have a trumpet, a flute, a clarinet, a saxophone, a trombone, or any other band instrument that's used and still workable, if you have that in, the basement, the attic, the closet, wherever, dig it out. And if you would like to recycle it, Franklin Elementary School Principal Chris Tolpa is happy to take it off your hands. So you can feel free to drop it off at the Senior Center. You don't have to take it over to Franklin School if that's not convenient for you. Bring it right on over to the Senior Center. We're open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. We would be happy to take that off your hands. So we're collecting band instruments, and we're also working with Westfield Technical Academy with the IT program here, the technology program here. We are collecting your old used cell phones. Again, I call it I take the shoebox out and it's my cell phone cemetery. All the old cell phones that nobody's using anymore, the ones from several years ago. We are collecting them. There is a release form that you sign. We're turning them over to the students here in the tech department, and they are wiping them clean. So they'll take out all your contacts and any kind of private information. And then those cell phones will be donated to a charitable organization that uses them just for 911 calls. So they are donated to, people who are in domestic violence situations, emergency situations. Might be someone who's elderly.
Yep.
And the only thing they can do with the phone is to dial 911. So it's an emergency 911 phone.
Yep.
But they can certainly use those old phones when that's all they have to do. So if you have one of those, we actually have quite a little collection going of old cell phones that we're going to be turning over to the school. So we're pretty excited about that, and really happy to do that partnership with Westfield Technical Academy. And just to throw out one more thank you and kudos to the tech department at Westfield Tech. They have been sending 2 students over on a monthly basis to help with our computer support tutorials. We had a couple of students there yesterday, and then the students stay for lunch, which is really nice. It's because it's kind of a dual, getting them to learn how to teach people how to use, and you can, it's not only computers. You can bring in a laptop. You can bring in if you got a new smartphone for Christmas and you have no idea how to use it or what to do with it, students will walk you through that. But then the other piece of it is we want them to feel comfortable with older adults and sort of understanding some of the challenges that they face. So we've invited the students to stay for lunch, and they've been doing that. So it's a really successful program. Yeah, it's a really nice partnership. All right, it is 6:17. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses, and in honor of the late David Bowie's birthday, we're going to listen to his #1 hit single, Fame.
Tomorrow What's the name? What's the name? What's the name? What's the name?
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:22. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, January 8th. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in studio this morning with producer Pete Coles, the chairman of the board, the man behind the glass. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
So Pete and I are doing this together for the first hour and second hour because it is the second Wednesday of the month, which is hard. I'm already messed up with the first and second Wednesdays because the first was a holiday and it was on a Wednesday.
Right. I haven't seen anything from Chamber Chatter, so I don't even know if they realize it's the second Wednesday or not.
It's a little screwy because, we have our friends board meeting on the second Wednesday, and all of a sudden, 2 days ago, Kathy Millis is sending me the minutes from last month, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's coming up.
Better check my email.
Yeah, anyway, so it is the second Wednesday, and that means that Joe Rouse from the Health Department, Director of the Health Department, will be with us. So we have a lot of things to talk about. There are some things that we didn't get to last month, and the big one was vaping. So I reminded Joe that I really want to get into that topic. But in the meantime, we have some very famous birthdays today. And those of you who are Elvis fans probably know that January 8th is the birthday of the late Elvis Presley, musician, actor, born January 8th, 1935 in Tupelo, Mississippi. Tupelo, Mississippi. He died August 16th, 1977 at the age of 42. So, a few fun facts about Elvis Presley. He received his first guitar as a gift from his mother on his 11th birthday in 1946 and had his first taste of musical success a few years later when he won a talent show at Humes High School in Memphis. After graduating in 1953, he worked a number of jobs while pursuing his musical dream. In 1955, Elvis Presley began to develop a following, with fans being drawn to his unusual musical style, provocative gyrating hips, and good looks. That same year, he signed with RCA Records. In 1956, Presley was on a roll, scoring his first #1 single with Heartbreak Hotel, as well as his first #1 album, Elvis Presley. His first film, Love Me Tender, also done in 1956, was a box office hit. He served a brief military stint in Germany, where he met Priscilla Beaulieu. They married in 1967, and they had a daughter, Lisa Marie, a year later. By the late 1960s, however, the enigmatic performer appeared to be losing his box office appeal. Proving he was still the king of rock and roll, he recorded his first TV special in 1968, often referred to as the 68 comeback. Unfortunately, this joyous time would not last. By the early 1970s, Elvis Presley's marriage was falling apart. The couple divorced in 1973, and Priscilla received custody of Lisa Marie. Presley was also wrestling with other personal problems, including a growing addiction to prescription drugs. The once thin rock star was battling a weight problem, and his destructive lifestyle caught up with him that fall when he was hospitalized for drug-related health problems. Despite his personal obstacles, Elvis Presley remained a popular draw in Las Vegas and on tour. He performed at his last concert in June 1977 in Indianapolis, Indiana. On the morning of August 16th, 1977, Presley died of heart failure at the age of 42. It was later ruled that his death was related to his prescription drug use. Presley was buried on the Graceland property near the grave sites of his mother Gladys, his father Vernon, and his grandmother Minnie Mae Hood Presley. So happy birthday to the late, great Elvis Presley. And of course, we're going to listen to a few Presley tunes this morning, two of my personal favorites.
Yeah, I know you had to load it up with Elvis. I got it.
Yeah, just a couple, but we had to get them in there. It is also the birthday today of Bob Eubanks, actor, producer, and game show host. He was born January 8th, 1938 in Flint, Michigan. He's 82 years old today. So Bob Eubanks is an actor and producer known for Home Alone 2, Lost in New York in 1992, Payback, 1991, and Johnny Dangerously, 1984. He first gained fame as the host of the TV game show The Newlywed Game, and that was way back in 1966. Eubanks hosted 4 different versions of The Newlywed Game in as many decades. He has been a commentator of the Tournament of Roses parade for LA television station KTLA from 1978 to the present.
Yeah, I remember that.
He substitute hosted for Casey Kasem on American Top 40 twice, once in 1982 and once in 1983. He was one of the youngest MCs ever to begin hosting game shows at the age of 28. That's pretty
and he's
amazing.
Forever. He's just known for that show. So
yeah, exactly. So happy 82nd birthday to Bob Eubanks. That's pretty cool. It's also the birthday of Jerome Little Anthony Gordine. So he's a singer born January 8th, 1941 in Brooklyn, New York. He's 79 years old today. While in high school, Gordine and his friends created a doo-wop group called the DuPonts. In 1957, Gordine joined a new group called the Chesters as the lead vocalist. The group recorded Tears on My Pillow, which became an instant success. The Chesters changed their name to Little Anthony and the Imperials in 1959 and released their second single hit, Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Bop, which sold 1 million records. From 1964 through 1967, Little Anthony and the Imperials achieved success with songs like I'm Outside Looking In, Going Out of My Head, and Hurt So Bad. They appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show, the Kraft Music Hall television show, and Dick Clark's television specials. In 1969, Little Anthony and the Imperials signed with United Artists and recorded several chart singles. So happy 79th birthday to Little Anthony.
There you go.
I don't know if he's so little anymore, but he looks good. I saw pictures of him. He's hanging in there.
Okay.
It is also the birthday of guitarist and singer Terry Sylvester. He was born January 8th, 1947 in Liverpool, England. He's 73 years old today. At the age of 14, Sylvester was employed for a time as a panel beater, which in American language is an auto body mechanic, by George Harrison's brother. The group he co-founded, the Escorts, appeared with the Beatles in the early 1960s. Yes, because of that panel beater connection.
Yeah, sure.
Sylvester's debut with the Hollies in January of 1969 saw him sing on the UK chart hit singles Sorry Suzanne and He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother, plus on the albums Hollies Sing Dylan and Hollies Sing Hollies, both done in 1969, which debuted Sylvester's songwriting. Terry Sylvester sang Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress on the Hollies' 1973 U.S. tour and on American television appearances. So we'll listen to that song later on.
Good song.
Happy 73rd birthday to Terry Sylvester. And finally, it is the birthday of actor Ron Cephas Jones. He was born January 8th, 1957 in Paterson, New Jersey. He's 63 years old. Ron Cephas Jones is best known for his role in the drama series This Is Us, which earned him 3 consecutive Primetime Emmy Award nominations, winning one for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series in 2018. He plays William Hill, the biological father of Randall Pearson. So for all of you This Is Us fans, which includes pretty much everybody who works at the senior center, I can tell you
never
that.
seen it.
Oh my gosh, it's our water cooler, chit chat conversation.
Gotcha.
And I'm the one, because it's on Tuesday nights and I have the radio show Wednesday morning, so everybody knows we can't discuss this until probably like Friday morning, because I can't watch it on Tuesday night because I go to bed early. So, but I don't want to know what happens. So they're very good about either
no spoilers.
No spoilers. They're good about either whispering what's going on or just deferring until Friday to talk about it. So prior to This Is Us, Jones had roles on several episodes of Law and Order, Criminal Intent, and The Blacklist. So happy 63rd birthday. He was born the same year I was born, to Ron Cephas Jones. And, well, you know what? We'll do the National Day after we take a break, because it is 6:31. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. So this is in honor of the birthday of Elvis Presley. And I personally, I'm sure Kenny would disagree because we don't like the same music, but I personally think this is one of the most beautiful love songs ever written.
He's not a ballad guy anyways.
I can't help falling in love with you. I just think this is beautiful.
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you, for I can't help falling in love with you.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in studio this morning with producer Pete Coles, and we're both chuckling over.
I couldn't take that one out.
That was so perfect because Bob got through the whole thing. That's the first time I've heard that, Pete. And he got through the whole thing, and I thought, oh,
yeah, you haven't been here for a couple weeks.
Right. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, he did it. And then when he said, I did it, I just thought, oh, that was perfect.
Well, because we did it live during the show.
Yes.
So we did it live, and it was like I could cut that out by editing it out, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Oh no, that was so perfect.
And
that
Jay's laugh is even funnier.
I know, and that was like Buster McMahon when he did his, which was like, or don't listen to me. I can't tell you what.
I'm not the boss of you.
I'm not the boss of you. I can't tell you what to do.
I know.
So those were great. They're good. They're really good.
Yeah.
Bobby
Bobby Goff did one. Do you want to? I don't know if you want to do one.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, I'll have to do one. I'll think about it. Think about what I want to say.
Well,
so,
I can always come to your place and do it too, so that's not a big deal.
That would be great. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the other day I mentioned earlier that the other day at the inauguration, Mary Lou Najolski and I were there. We were selling, and I noticed there is one here, so I'm going to lift this up. So we were selling here it is.
350.
The 350th anniversary commemorative book. So
right, for the year.
For the year. So this is the 350th in pictures. I keep doing this. There it is. In pictures. So these are all of the events that happened throughout the year. We have one of these at the Senior Center as a tabletop, as kind of a coffee table book for people to peruse. But we are selling them at the Senior Center with the proceeds going to the Friends of the Westfield Senior Center. The books are $10 a piece. They're lovely. I mean, they are just,
I got mine.
They just captured the whole year in pictures and all of the different events that happened throughout the year. The parade and the lecture series and the road race and the pancake breakfast. There were just so many different things that were going on that are.
It's kind of a roadmap for when they open the time capsule in 50 years.
Exactly.
It's kind of a roadmap for, hey, this is what we did, because Harry and the committee both all said that they had a hard time finding out exactly what they did if they didn't hear from residents of the time remembering what they did.
50 years earlier.
Nothing written down.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is really, I mean, I know just so that people understand, so the 350th committee had the book published, and then
they had enough money. They had enough money to underwrite the cost of the book.
Right. And so what they did was they donated it to many of the nonprofits throughout the city, and the Friends of the Westfield Senior Center being one of them.
And the businesses who helped them sell the original book, the history book. Yeah.
Yep. And so we are now selling those. So, they're all over the place. And then the nonprofits and the businesses get to keep the proceeds that come back.
Because a lot of businesses took a risk, and some of them lost a little bit of money, credit card processing and stuff like that. So it was a good thank you to them too, as well as the people. It was a way to give back.
Yeah. And a couple of people have asked, and just so that you know, we do at the Senior Center have a few of the people asked about the original book, which was the history book. That is $40, and we do have some copies of that at the Senior Center. So if you're looking for one of those, we have those at the Senior Center. So, as Harry said, you could get the set for $50. I mean, they're beautiful books. Exactly. They're well worth the money. So just so you know that those are for sale. Mm-hmm. We've sold more than half of ours, so they are going fast. So I know a lot of people pick them up. It was so funny, Pete. We did our Christmas Eve open house. I didn't think to have a table set up there. We had set up a table. Kathy Millis was at the Senior Center selling them the week before Christmas every day. She was there for at least an hour and a half or 2 hours, so people had the opportunity. Yep. It didn't occur to me to have a table set up on Christmas Eve, but somebody asked me, oh, can I get the book? So I said, oh, of course, let me go in the closet. And the next thing I know, I had like a line of people. Oh, well, I want one, because it was the day before Christmas, and people were, it was perfect. Yeah. So, so we were selling them at the inauguration, and we certainly had some people that picked them up there. People said, oh, I've been wanting to get one. And so, so anyway, they're around. So we are open at the Senior Center Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, and you can we have them at the greeter's desk. Just tell them that you would like an edition of the 350th book. And again, if you want the other one, they'll have to come and get me, because those I have under lock and key. But I do have a few copies of the history book, so you're welcome to that as well. So today we haven't done National Day yet, so we need to do that before the next break. Where's my?
Okay.
Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. I'm like, where is it? So January 8th, it is National Winter Skin Relief Day.
Not a bad thing for today.
No, that's
a little dry.
so exactly. That's so important when you live in New England. So as winter kicks into high gear, National Winter Skin Relief Day reminds us of all the ways that we can keep our skin from withering under the harshest elements. The dropping temperatures outside and rising thermostats inside sap the amount of moisture in the air. Our skin is the first to notice. Dr. Joshua Zeichner, Director of Cosmetic and Clinical Research at Mount Sinai Hospital, makes a few recommendations to help us keep our skin hydrated through the winter. So, and I have to tell you, after I did this, I've been really trying to live up to these recommendations and expectations. And the first one, when the chill sets in, avoid the temptation to take those long, hot showers. I have to tell you, Pete, I got in the shower last night and I was so cold and that water felt so good. And I'm in there for about 2 minutes and I went, oh yeah, I can't stay in here too long. It's really going to kill my skin. The heat strips the skin of its natural oils and causes inflammation. Instead, take shorter, lukewarm showers and use gentle cleansers. Harsh soaps with surfactants and claims of pH balance can be harsh on the skin. And don't scrub. Be tender and let the water and lather do the work. And then if you have dry, cracked skin, look for a cream or ointment with light petroleum. After bathing, pat the skin dry with a soft towel. Rubbing causes more irritation and inflammation. And of course, you have that tendency to want to rub and get dry really fast because otherwise you're freezing cold with this water.
Or you get itchy and you scratch it. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So just pat, so just hang on to that. With the door closed, keep the humidity in and then add a moisturizer. When dressing, wear layers. The closest layer should be made of natural fibers. Soft fabrics like flannel and cotton cause little to no irritation compared to synthetic materials. Layers also are more effective against cold weather. Our skin needs hydration at night too, so adding humidity to the air with a cool mist humidifier will not only hydrate your skin, but will also provide a more restful sleep. So, happy National Winter Skin Relief Day. And just remember some of those because they are really important because we do live in New England and that's exactly what happens. It's cold outside, the air is really dry, we're freezing, so we turn the heat up inside and now it's dry inside as well. So, yeah, just we have, I think I have moisturizer like in every room in my house and in my office, and somebody put some in the restroom, our staff restroom, and so, we're big on moisturizers.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. We'll do I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here, Pete, which I don't usually do. But we were looking for something fun to do at the senior center that didn't require a lot of preparation because we always have an eye in January out for snow and the possible snow days. So we don't usually plan a special event like a big party. A, because we're all partied out from having a million of them in December. Yep. And B, because if we have to, postpone or cancel a party, it means, we've got entertainment and food and all this other stuff. So we don't do a lot with that. So I was trying to figure out, okay, so what could we do in January at the senior center that would be fun for the participants, but wouldn't be a big deal if we had to cancel it because of snow. Right. So I went to my handy dandy National Day calendar, which I get as a gift every year from one of my in-laws because I always put that at the top of my Christmas exchange list. And I checked out some upcoming days and national days. So next Wednesday, we'll announce this next Wednesday, but next Wednesday, January 15th, is National Hat Day, and it is also National Strawberry Ice Cream Day.
Well, there you go.
And I thought I can do something with those two national days. So to celebrate at the senior center a week from today, we are going to wear a hat to lunch and eat strawberry ice cream for dessert. So
if you put some bananas in there, you can call it a Jim Dandy.
Oh, that's true. That would be true. I can recommend that to Joanne Spear, our food services coordinator. So next Wednesday at the senior center, there's no special tickets in advance or any of that stuff. It's our regular lunch. But the great thing is you get to wear a hat. So I was picking out the hat that I'm going to wear because I have a few hats at home. So.
Maybe I'll come over for lunch and wear a hat.
Yeah,
I got a couple cool ones.
That's it. All I have to do is wear a hat.
I'm a hat guy.
Yeah, I love hats. So
I got some
have this
doozies.
Well, I have this really cool hat that I got when I did this this sailing trip with my brothers. I did a sailing trip up in Maine. Oh man, it must have been, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago with my two older brothers, where you go out on a sailboat for I think we were out for like 3 or 4 days, and you actually help to pull the sails up, and you do all this. It was like a working trip. Yeah, you're part of the crew. So it was a lot of fun. It was something that my two brothers wanted to do, and I wormed my way into that because I shamed him into it. I said, "Is this only a guy thing? Like, are you opening this up?" And they you know what? They were really funny though. They said, would you want to go? And I said, yeah. And they said, really? That's so cool. We didn't think that you would, we didn't even think to ask you because we didn't think it would be something you'd want to do.
Yep.
And so anyway, but I bought this little like sailing cap thing because, when you're out on the, out in the water, like it's not a good hair day when you're out on the water. So I just figured I'd be able to stuff my hair under this cap. And I love the cap, but I really don't have any place to wear it. So I think I'm going to wear that one next week.
I have an old-time football helmet. I have... I have a Russian Army cap.
Oh, wow. Oh,
I gotta
Pete,
dig
you
that one
have
out.
to come. Yeah, you have to come for I can't even tell you what's on the menu next week because I forgot to bring my new edition of Voice of Experience newsletter. But anyway, so next Wednesday at the Senior Center, wear a hat to lunch, and we are going to eat strawberry ice cream for dessert. So it is 6:46. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. We're going to sing our second, or we're going to sing.
Go ahead.
You
I want to
can
hear
if
that.
you want to. You
I'll
can
leave the
sing
mic
along.
open.
You can sing along if you want to, but we're going to listen to my other Elvis choice, which is "Burn in Love," which I think is just a fun song.
Lord Almighty, I feel my temperature rising. Higher, higher, it's burning through to my soul. Girl, 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 you gonna set me on fire. My brain is flaming, I don't know which way to go. Your kisses lift me higher, like a sweet song of a choir. You light my morning sky, burning love. Ooh, 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 I feel my temperature rising. Help me, I'm flaming, I must be 109. Burning, 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 and nothing can cool me. Yeah. I just might turn to smoke, but I feel fine. 'Cause your kisses lift me higher, like the sweet song of a choir. And you light my morning sky, burning love. It's coming closer, the flames are now licking my body. Won't you help me? I feel like I'm slipping away. It's hard to breathe, my chest is heaving. Lord have mercy, I'm burning a hole where I lay. Yeah. Your kisses lift me higher, like a sweet song of a choir. You light my morning sky, burning love, burning love, burning love. I'm just a hunk of burning love, just a hunk of burning love, hunk of burning love, a hunk of burning love, a hunk of burning love. Just a hunk of burning love.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:50. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, January 8th. It's the birthday of Elvis Presley. So we've played a couple of Elvis tunes for you this morning. It's the birthday of the late David Bowie. So we've played Fame from David Bowie. So we have a couple of other songs to play as well. I just wanted to mention, we were talking earlier about some of the things going on, the events and programs going on at the Senior Center. We have a new partnership that we're doing at the Senior Center, and the first event will be Tuesday, January 21st. So I just wanted to mention that there's a new director over at the Westfield Athenaeum. Kate Devaney is the director over there, and she emailed me and Mary Lou Najowski, our program director, several weeks ago. We met before the holidays, and she said, it seems to me that we do a few programs that kind of overlap a little bit. And so I'm wondering if we can, partner for those. So the first one that we decided to partner with was we had a program called Historical Perspectives, which was kind of a history discussion group. And Kate and Sue Crichton, who handles the archives over there, they also had a history type of discussion group. So we decided to join forces, and I'm sort of letting Kate and Sue take the lead on this one. So we're moving that program from the Athenaeum over to the Senior Center. It will be held on the third Tuesday of every month at the Senior Center from 2 to 3 in the afternoon. And the way that Sue wants to do this, which I think is really kind of fun, is they have 3 different formats. And so each month it might be a different format. So this month it's what they call a history chat. So a history chat is when they have invite members, participants, to kind of share their experiences. So this month on January 21st, the history chat is going to be exploring local history, going to school. So it will be a discussion of, going to school in Westfield, whether it was elementary school, middle school, high school, whether you went to, at that time, the vocational school or the trade school, right? So it'll be recollections of Westfield school life, both during the elementary and high school years. Participants will have fun peeking at a few items from the archives related to going to school in Westfield yesteryear. So you don't have to sign up for this. There's no advanced signups. There's, you can just drop in and join the discussion. So it was really funny because we have some flyers up at the Senior Center, and I had a couple who was at lunch the other day, and they were asking me about this. And when I told them what this month's topic was and the fact that this will be very participatory, they just said, that sounds great. They're really enthusiastic. And so they're going to be joining the group. And also, if you taught in Westfield, you would also have a lot to contribute to this discussion. What was it like teaching? Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of retired teachers at the Senior Center. So I'm hoping that a lot of them will come. And then I'm working on the program for February, and I just heard from Kate and Sue that February will kind of be a follow-up. Bob Brown is going to come in, a local historian, and also kind of follow up. Yes, and follow up with some, same topic, but they will have, some photographs and things like that.
Maybe more from the university perspective?
I'm not sure about that yet. Yeah. I mean, they just gave me sort of a very broad brushstroke of what, that was going to be. So that they're calling... The history chats are participatory, kind of recollections. The history talks is where they'll bring in, someone who with some expertise. So that's what February will be. And then they also have another one that they're calling, I think, Treasures from the Attic or something. And that's when they'll be going into the archives and bringing in items and asking the participants to help identify. So they might, as Sue said, they've got a lot of photographs, old photographs, and they're trying to identify, people and buildings and places and things like that.
Sure.
So that will be so it'll be one of those 3 formats each month, and so it'll be in my newsletter on which format it will be and what the topic of discussion will be. So it's a drop-in group, so you might be very interested in a topic one month and maybe not so much the other the next month. So just come to whatever you want. It's not it's not like a club that you have to join or anything. So we're really excited about that, and I appreciate Kate reaching out to us. And the other one that we're sort of reviving is our Dine and Dash partnership. So the first Thursday of every month, except in the summer, the Athenaeum does their first Thursday concert. So they have a first Thursday concert series, and those concerts are at 1:00. And so what we've done there is we kind of partner with them, and we'll put something in our newsletter about the concert, and we're inviting people to come and have lunch at the senior center. You're seated, you have to be seated at 11:45. We serve lunch promptly at 12 o'clock. That gives you plenty of time to enjoy a nice meal and then get over to the Athenaeum for the concert at 1:00. So we're calling it Dine and Dash. And we're putting in the newsletter what the concert is. So stay tuned, and I'll let you know a little bit later in January what the February concert is. I wrote it up, and that will be in the newsletter. So we've got the history chat this month on Tuesday, January 21st, and then Dine and Dash, which will be the beginning of February. So some really great programs. And for those of you who were listening earlier, I mentioned that Joe Rouse from the Health Department will be joining us second hour. And I did just get word from Joe that Kathy Catuno, who's the coordinator of the CORE program here, which formerly was the Opioid Task Force, will also be joining us this morning because there's a big forum that's happening at the Senior Center next Thursday morning. So Kathy and Joe will be talking about that and what that group hopes to accomplish next week. So, Pete, it's January, and so I noticed in the Penny Saver, and this was confirmed by 2 of my good friends, Officer Mark Carbonneau and Joanne Spear from our kitchen, that the YMCA of Greater Westfield will hold their 10th annual cook-off chili chowder, contest. Chocolate chowder and chili cook-off fundraiser Saturday, March 7th from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. So they are looking for people to participate, entrants to participate. So last year, not having done this before, I announced this on the radio, and then I went to Joanne Spear, our kitchen manager, and said, would you like to do this? That might be something fun, that the senior center could enter, our chili or whatever. And so Joanne said, okay, that would be great. Well, unbeknownst to us, because we had just moved Officer Mark Carbonneau into the senior safety office at the senior center, he was highly insulted because we didn't realize that the police department submits, and Mark is in charge of the police chili. And apparently there's quite the rivalry between the police department and the fire department, who always get put next to each other at the chocolate chowder and chili cook-off. So there was a lot of smack talk going on last year. So I suggested that this year, Mark and Joanne coordinate and we work together on our entry. So we don't want to compete against each other. So I said, work together and figure out how you want to do this. Go play nice in the sandbox.
Why don't you let Mark do the chili, and you guys do a chowder and a chocolate?
Well, I believe...
And have triple entries.
I believe we weren't going to do the chocolate piece. I know we had talked about the chowder piece, but I believe that what they've come up with is that Mark is doing the chili and Joanna is in charge of the cornbread because we did have cornbread with ours last year and it was really good. So, but Mark is giving Joanne, all the instructions on what he wants in the cornbread, and I told him to back off because Joanne's not giving him instructions on his chili. So if he's giving her the instructions, if she's making the cornbread, she can do it her way. But I think they want some secret ingredients in there. So, but anyway, for anyone else, if you're interested in joining this crazy chaos, it is a lot of fun, I have to say. I don't know.
We covered it last year.
You did cover it last year. I don't know if you and Kenny will be covering it again.
I just put it on his calendar.
Kenny was busy interviewing all of the
Chef John with him.
He was what?
Chef John Slattery.
Yes, and he was doing. They were doing sampling and so forth. So it was a lot of fun. But if you're interested in doing it, it is a great cause. This year, the money is going to the YMCA Live Strong program, which is a 12-week. It's a free 12-week exercise program for cancer survivors who are currently in or have completed treatment and are physically deconditioned. So this is to help them to get back in shape. It's a great program. Andrea Aller does a phenomenal job at the YMCA. So if you're interested in joining the chocolate chowder and chili cook-off, you want to contact Cindy Agan over at the YMCA, and her phone number is 568-8631 extension 323, and it is in this week's Penny Saver, and I'm sure it'll be in the Penny Saver for the next several weeks. So great cause, lots of fun. There are some very friendly rivalries.
A little packed in there.
Yeah, it's very packed in there, but that's a good thing. It's a fundraiser. That's what you want.
This year I have wireless mics. It'll be easier to move around in there.
Yeah, it will be.
Because last year I had corded mics and it was tough.
Yeah. I think that'll be great. And it's just a fun day to go and just sample stuff. I mean, there was some really good chili and there was some really good chowder. Yeah, I know. I'm still not. I agree with you, Pete. I would love to have Joanne because we do some great soups. George Svakios, our kitchen assistant, does some great soups. So
just put a bug in her ear.
I haven't taken that one off the table yet.
You guys could win everything.
Yeah, be kind of cool.
Win 2 out of 3.
Kind of cool. All right, so it is 7:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. When we come back, I'm going to tell you where you can drop off your Christmas tree if you still have not done.
The Dunkin' Donut shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every 4th Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. I know, these are
Limiting
really
Harry
good.
to 8 seconds is impossible.
Well,
I come up with a quick tagline.
Boy, he did a great job. Everybody did a great job. The pressure's on. I've got to really come up. I've got to do a great job.
And
Everybody else
you have 8 seconds to do it.
8 seconds.
It's like riding a bull.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I talk fast. I can get a lot. I can do a whole interview in 8 seconds, Pete. Come on.
Harry kept running over. I said, Harry, just kind of introduce yourself, and then when you are, and then a quick tagline.
There it is.
And I think that is my place I call home. I think that's perfect for Harry.
It's perfect. Yep. I know. That's what I need. I have to come up with my tagline.
Yep.
So, all right, I'll come up with that, and then we'll record it next week.
If you're stuck, email Principal Langoni. He's really good at that.
No, I think I can come up with something. I have a few ideas floating around in the head already.
All right.
Okay, so Christmas tree drop-off sites announced. This was in the Westfield News the other day. So if you have taken down your tree, trees can be dropped off January and any time between now and January 15th. So you have 1 week left if you haven't done it already at the following locations. And I have to say, Westfield, go Westfield, because you've got a lot of places where you can drop off your Christmas tree.
Yeah, they really made it convenient this year.
They did. City Hall, 7 days a week, 24 hours, so anytime. Hampton Ponds Playground, which is at Old Stage Road, 7 days, 24 hours.
Yep.
Highway Garage DPW, 12 Ponders Hollow Road, 7 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Okay. Little River Fire Station, back parking area, 7 days, 24 hours. Twist Street Transfer Station, no sticker needed, Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Those are a lot of options for you folks to get those Christmas trees dropped off.
I think that's also a new site for Twist Street. I don't know if they've had that one.
I don't know if they have.
Station 2 is a new site.
I was going to say, I don't remember the fire station.
And I think Hampton Ponds Park is a new spot too.
Yeah. So those are great, and the city repurposes the trees by chipping them and using the wood chips for landscaping. So just remember, though, folks, the trees must be bare. You have to take all the lights and all the decorations off. No tinsel, no garland.
Chippers don't like that.
Yeah, the chippers don't work. They don't work well. But you know what? A great way to recycle your trees. I think that's really. I live in West Springfield, and they do curbside collection, but the problem is they do it once. So if 1 year I missed it, I thought I got my tree out plenty early enough, but I had already missed it. So then I had to figure something out on my own. And then the other thing is that with the curbside stuff, it snows and then, you put it out there. Now you can't find it. It's buried under snow. The chippers can't find it. It's just a mess. I think this is so convenient because, even if you don't have a truck or anything, just if you can cut it into a couple pieces, you can throw it in the trunk of your car and then get it to one of these sites and they'll take care of it for you. So, so perfect. So thank you to the city of Westfield for doing that. So, Pete, speaking of Christmas trees, we really haven't had a chance to talk about Christmas because I haven't been here for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So how was your Christmas? Did you have a nice Christmas?
Good. I went over to my
was
brother's
good? Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And then I spent some time with my girlfriend and her dad and her son on Christmas morning.
Perfect.
And then I do my traditional. I work Christmas night at Mount Holyoke College, letting the full-timers take the night off.
That's really nice. That's nice of you to do that. I think that's really thoughtful.
I was supposed to have a partner this year. I was psyched about it, and then she turned up. She got the flu or stomach rhinovirus, and she was out for like four nights. I was supposed to be working with her over the break, and I was like, she didn't end up working any of them.
You were by yourself every night?
Because she was sick as a dog.
Now, what happens? Okay, so you're at Mount Holyoke.
Yes.
Obviously, the kids are, they're not kids. The students are not. They're not in school. So, what are some of the? Why do they need somebody there? I'm just curious.
Oh, all the buildings. There's potential for fire at any of the buildings.
Okay.
There are still a handful of international students that don't really have anywhere to go.
Yeah. Okay.
And they stay on campus, and then just whatever. You got to protect. We got to protect the buildings.
You just have to. Somebody
so
has
you
to be
can go
there.
down to one person in dispatch for that time period. But there's still some stuff going on.
Absolutely.
Not a lot.
Right.
I enjoyed some television. I caught up on some of my DVR stuff while I was there, and did
just
some work.
Putting in the time.
Yeah.
There it is.
But somebody actually needs to be there because there are dozens of buildings between the two campuses and the fire alarms and things like that. You know?
Yeah. Now it's Mount Holyoke College, and then what's the other campus?
Smith.
Oh, Smith. Oh, but you're housed at Mount Holyoke,
Correct,
right?
yes.
Yeah, that's where you are. That's where you're stationed.
Yeah, I was kind of psyched because I was like, I didn't bring dinner, and it was a last minute call out type of thing, and my boss is like, well, I'll make a food run for you, and I said I found some place open and did a diner, DoorDash or one of those delivery services.
Yeah. Aww.
I was trying to convince somebody to come over and have dinner with me and get Chinese, but.
Oh, and that was on Christmas Day. Jeez,
Christmas Day, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank everybody who participated in our Christmas Eve open house. It was amazingly successful. It was so wonderful, Pete. We had over 100 people who came. Which
that was going on while we were on the air.
It was, oh my gosh.
We should have had you call in.
So, you know what? I didn't have time to call in. We ended up having probably a dozen members of the police department, the Westfield Police Department, who came in. Chief Valier, Captain Petoniak was in. Kevin Bard came over. There were a slew of them. Some of the newer police officers came.
That's good.
And then for the fire department, Chief Egloff came over and his administrative staff came, and I think there were 5 that came, and I thought, oh, that's really nice. There were 5 fire, and so they went up and they saw their tree. Everybody came and saw their tree. The police all saw the tree.
Yep.
Fire went upstairs and they all found their badges and they saw their tree. So when they came down, I said to Chief Egloff, well, come on in, have some coffee. And he said, well, we're not going to. He said, we actually we went out for breakfast. He had taken his staff out for breakfast. He said, and we want to get back because I'm sending the firefighters and EMTs in shifts so that everybody gets to come here. So about every 15 minutes or so, there would be a new shift of, it was, if you were watching the parking lot, you'd see like an ambulance come in and then an ambulance leave. You'd see a fire truck, a fire engine come in and a fire engine leave. And so the last person to come was Deputy Fire Chief Andy Hart. And Andy came, it was really at the very tail end. And he said, I wanted to see the tree. I just wanted to come in and wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And he said, I think every single person that was on duty for the fire department made it over. I
great.
was so happy about that. They were really funny. I got a nice picture with some of the guys upstairs when they were looking at the tree. And then we had, I think Agnes was doing was signing my seniors in. And I think we had about 70 seniors. I had a lot of my staff. It was just great. And a huge shout out to Marion Dunk and Chip Arnold. They are the keepers, and they provided the music and entertainment. And I just, it's a big deal for somebody to take time out of their Christmas Eve morning to come, and they played for an hour and a half. And it was just so beautiful. It was just really lovely background holiday music. And I so appreciate them doing that. So what a tremendous, we had some of the city councilors came. Councilor Oniski was there from Ward 6 from, I think, the time we opened until, we were cleaning up the dishes, and he helped do that. Cindy Harris came over. I'm trying to think, there was another. Oh, Mike Burns came over. So we had several of the city councilors who came, and it was a great morning. People had just a wonderful time. So
cool.
Big shout out to everybody who made that a big success.
Well, it's time for his entrance music because he just walked in the door.
Perfect. So my guest this second hour is Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield. So we're going to play Joe's theme song, which is what? Happiness is a Thing Called Joe. I couldn't remember the title of the song. It's by Peggy Lee, and I'm thinking it's got Joe in the title. Happiness is a Thing Called Joe, and we agree. Happiness is a thing called Joe. So when we come back, Joe Rouse.
Skies ain't gonna cloud no more. The crops ain't gonna fail. Caught a bluebird by the toe, a rainbow by the tail, a certain man with eyes that shine, voodooed up this heart of mine. It seems like happiness is just a thing called Joe. He's got a smile that makes the lilacs want to grow. He's got a way that makes the angels heave a sigh. When they see little Joe passing by, sometimes the cabin's gloomy and the table's bare. But when he kisses me, it's Christmas everywhere. Troubles fly away and life is easy. Does he love me good? That's all I need to know. Seems like happiness is just a thing called Joe. Little Joe. Little Joe. Little Joe.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at Rockies.com. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:18. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and now we have lots of people here, lots of people in the room. So, of course, we have our producer, Pete Coles, chairman of the board, over there behind the glass. So good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
And we are joined now by, because it's the second Wednesday of the month, Joe Rouse, director of public health for the city of Westfield. Good morning, Joe. You're still getting
Good morning. Yeah,
your
no, I'm
headphones
here. It's
together
okay.
over there.
I'm
You're all
here.
set.
Yeah.
And we have Kathy Catuno, coordinator for CORE, which is the Coalition for Outreach, Recovery, and Education. So welcome back, Kathy. She's been on the show before as well. We have lots to talk about. You're going to need to pull this mic a little closer to you. Okay, so we're going to start with, we'll let Kathy just kind of settle in and take a breath for a minute. So, Joe, are you
Yeah,
okay
no,
over there?
I'm not on.
You're not on. Okay.
Well,
You
I can.
And you can always.
None of those headphones are working?
No, they're all working, but you got to change the. You just have to turn the volume up over here.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Which one? Yeah, it depends on which one you're plugged
That's
into.
it. It was that one. Yeah.
That one, that
Good,
one?
I'm
Okay,
good, I'm
test,
good.
test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm alive.
Are you there?
Yes.
You're there. I know they were all turned down.
All right.
Okay, so Joe, you're good. You're
good. Yeah.
So
ready to go.
I have this question. So we were talking off air because you said you were going to wear your pajamas and robe this morning, but what made you change your mind? Because I think that would be so great.
The females in my house and
They
in
wouldn't
my
let
life,
you?
Yeah, they gently and forcefully talked me out of it when I had the full attire ready to go, robe, slippers.
I'm a little disappointed because I think it would have been great. And by the way, next week is National Hat Day, next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's also National Strawberry Ice Cream Day. So I was mentioning earlier that at the senior center, so for lunch next week, everybody's got to wear a hat, and we're going to have strawberry ice cream for dessert. We're going to combine those two national days. So Pete and I are wearing our hats. I'm going to wear my hat here too, because like underneath my headphones, put my hat on top.
You'll find a strawberry hat.
Yeah. Oh, a strawberry hat.
Amazon, here we come.
I know, but I've done that with like T-shirts when we have watermelon day, so I got a T-shirt with a watermelon on it. Yeah, Amazon for sure. We have our ice cream splurge, so I got a T-shirt with a big ice cream sundae because some of those are annual things, so I figure it's worth paying the $15 or $20 for a new T-shirt because I can wear it every year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love it.
Good idea.
Yep.
So Joe, when you were here last month, you had a laundry list of about 16 topics that you thought we were going to get through, which we didn't even get close.
Right.
But one of the topics that we did not get to at all has obviously been in the news. And we'll kind of segue into a little bit of what we're going to talk about when we bring Kathy in a few minutes is the whole topic of vaping.
Sure.
So let's kind of talk about, first of all, why did vaping hit the news in Massachusetts? And then What's going on with that? Where does the health department stand? Where do you want to start this? It's a big topic.
Yeah, it's a mess. So
it is a mess.
It's a mess right now. So it basically all started, being in the forefront of the public health mindset, because the teens and the high school students and underage kids were starting to take that on as their thing. You know, so you had a lot of vaping in the high school. And it was starting to be very prevalent, and not just in Westfield, but across the state, country, everything. So it was time to kind of step back and say, what are we going to do with this? Knowing that this is all nicotine product, right? And that kids are going to start to get addicted, which they did and are. So the Massachusetts, and I give them credit for this, stepped in and said, look, we're getting rid of all of this stuff. They had some occasions where there was some vaping attributed illnesses and deaths.
Right.
Not necessarily with the stuff that you see in the stores,
right?
But there was some other products that were out there that were actually causing people to get sick. Not really knowing what those products were in comparison to what you can just generally buy.
Right.
The governor basically declared an emergency and said, we're going to get all of this stuff out of here. Nobody can buy it until we figure out what's going on.
Okay.
So it took some time. Now, I don't think they really did not all of the studies were done that they wanted to have done. They didn't get, kind of still even seeking FDA approval on certain devices. But basically it came back where they were told by a court that they didn't follow the procedure of declaring the public health emergency correctly.
Okay.
They had to go back and kind of redo some stuff and then came out with a new set of regulations in late December. So what those regulations did is, whereas initially his declaration of emergency pulled all that product out from retail sale.
Right.
And then their next version, which they went through all the steps they needed to make it a legit public health declaration, was that they allowed some of the products back into the stores.
Okay.
Now, our focus the whole time was, and we had been talking about this, I think I mentioned it before, at the local Board of Health level, to prohibit the sale of any of the vape products in the convenience stores, gas stations,
right.
Any establishment that wasn't a 21 and older type place.
Okay.
So we figured at least that'll cut down a little bit on the youth access.
Yep.
Where you have to now go in and show your ID. You have to be 21 to enter the store. So that would be smoke shop, vape shop, and we have a few in the city. We didn't get that far because then they pulled everything off the shelves.
Okay.
We said, let's wait to see how this is going to settle out in the long run, and maybe the state will do what we were deciding to do.
Okay.
We were pretty confident that they were going to do that, but they didn't. And they let some of the vape products back into the convenience stores.
Okay.
That is a disaster. That is and I've been openly critical of that decision since day one, since I first found out about it. I went on a little bit of a tirade at our last board meeting about it, and so got some press on that, but it wasn't negative. And I think the reality is that as a public health entity, you never take something away with the proclamation that it's dangerous or potentially dangerous,
right?
And then
put it back.
You just don't do it.
Right.
So one of my quotes that I said at the board meeting, and I honestly feel like there's something else to this whole thing. There's no way in good conscience that the state, whether it was, and it wasn't personally the governor, but the Public Health Council, can say that they are concerned about youth access and still let this product go back into the stores in a non-adult only establishment. It makes no sense.
Right.
So it makes you try and figure out, well, what is that? That's either that you just totally cave to the retailers associations and their threats.
Yep.
Or you maybe want tax revenue, more tax revenue when they start taxing it. Okay. So it just didn't make any sense. And that's why I was so critical. It's like, I'm okay if you want to give this stuff back and say it's limited to adult only establishments, but don't let it back into the convenience stores, because what you said is, hey, whoa, this stuff is dangerous. It's killing people. Oh, wait, never mind. Here you go. You can have it back now. Now, just by default, like that kind of seems like you're saying it's okay.
Yes.
And so I'm not all right with that. And we're going to proceed on the local level with getting that ban so that, and interestingly, a lot of the convenience stores have not brought that product back into their stores yet, which kudos to them.
Yep.
I don't want to see that happen. So, because if we implement that adult-only regulation, then these stores are going to be back where they were again, where they're going to have to take everything off the shelves and probably lose money.
And Joe, just to clarify, so the cities can do that, even though that's stricter than the state regulations,
Right.
but the city Board of Health can make that determination.
Yep.
Now, does the Board of Health, does that have to go to council at all, or is that just
No.
something that the Board of
Yeah.
Health can do on its own?
Yeah, Mass General Law lets any local Board of Health in the Commonwealth
Okay.
make a regulation that is more strict than a state or federal regulation.
Okay, perfect.
You can't get any more lenient with a regulation, but you can make it more strict as long as it's reasonable.
Yep.
So that's what the language is in the law.
And, you know, just for those of us who don't smoke and who have never smoked, the whole, and just to correct me if I'm wrong, but was the whole idea of vaping initially for people who were trying to quit smoking tobacco?
Yep.
And this was kind of like a transition. So then you're going to do vaping and then, you know, transition to nothing.
Yeah,
Is that the idea?
Yeah, and pretty much all of the people that I met that opened up vape shops were advocates for that because they were ex-smokers. They quit smoking by starting to vape.
Yes.
And it's not commonly an accepted nicotine replacement therapy, but at the time when it came out, everybody pretty much said, how could it possibly be worse than smoking cigarettes? Right?
And it is.
Then the next thing you know, you have some devices or products or whatever that were actually killing people and making people sick.
Right.
So that's where you go, okay, now all of a sudden this is an acute sickness. This is something that's going to make you sick right away.
Right. It's not
As
like
opposed
smoking
to
over
the-
a long period of
Right.
time and, you know, you develop all kinds of
you're not
respiratory problems.
you're not going to get cancer from smoking a cigarette for 2 weeks.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
it's a chronic exposure issue. It's still Class A carcinogen, but it was an accepted kind of unofficial accepted nicotine replacement therapy. And really, everybody said, "Well, look at the ingredients of the liquid of the product that we're vaping.
Yep.
There's no carcinogens in that. Yes, it has nicotine, but it's not the carcinogens that's the problem. And as more studies go, I would imagine they're going to find the biggest problem with the vaping is the particle size of the vapor versus the particle size of a tobacco smoke. It's smaller. It infiltrates more areas of the lung that aren't usually affected by even tobacco smoke. And then the composition of the actual product itself. It needs to be more regulated, and in the future it will be. But for now, some of the products are back on the shelves. They did eliminate all the flavored stuff.
Well,
so
that was, you know what, I have to tell you, I went to a training in Worcester a couple of years ago, and I was, again, not being somebody who doesn't do this, but I was just blown away by, you know, it's like bubble gum and Skittles and, you know, all of this other, and I passed somebody, I was walking on School Street a couple of months ago before the ban, and so, you know, some younger person went by vaping, and it was bubble gum. I mean, it was just like all around me, and I thought, well, no wonder they're loving this stuff.
Sure.
I mean, that's exactly. I just thought, wow, it was really nice.
Yeah,
so I can see where the attraction is to young people, and of course that's such a marketing tool.
It is, and now the damage has been done though. So what you have is you have a whole bunch of population of kids that are addicted to nicotine.
Yep.
And they will openly admit that. So now it doesn't really matter what the flavor is. They need to have their nicotine.
Right.
So they can now go back to the store and buy, you know, the Juul product that has, I think their only flavors now are original tobacco and Virginia tobacco.
Yeah, which sounds
I
disgusting
don't know what that means,
to me,
but it doesn't even matter anymore because now they just want that. They want that product to have that nicotine. So another thing I said is it doesn't matter now if it tastes like Tutti Frutti or shoe leather. They're still going to do it. So
absolutely.
So we still have to get that out of the access loop of the underage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want to take a little break here because it is 7:30. But when we come back, I want to talk about before we get into Kathy's piece, but just to finish up with the vaping thing, like how prevalent it is in the schools, and you know, sort of, can we do anything about that? So we'll talk about that when we get back. It's 7:31. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. We're going to listen to a song by the Hollies, "Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress." This is in honor of the birthday of Terry Sylvester. We'll be back.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for ArtSpeak, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorham. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and it is Wednesday, January 8th, so we're into 2020, a week into 2020. Pete Coles is behind the boards, behind the glass. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
There you are. Turn that mic on, Pete.
Well, there's people coming in now. I don't want them to
I
hear.
understand. We're at Westfield Technical Academy now. It's light out now. I see students coming in, faculty coming in, custodians coming in.
Yep.
So there's a lot of
Bustle.
comings and goings here. My guest this morning, Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health with the City of Westfield. Good morning again, Joe.
Good morning.
He's this is his regular monthly second Wednesday of the month stint. And also joining us is Kathy Catuno, and Kathy is the coordinator for CORE, which is the Coalition for Outreach, Recovery, and Education for the City of Westfield. So welcome back, Kathy. So we're talking about vaping, and I was curious because Kathy, there was an article in the Penny Saver this week on the CORE and the forum coming up, which we're going to talk about. But there were also some interesting statistics on vaping. So talk to us about this from your standpoint, especially vaping in the schools and with young people. What are you seeing out there?
That's right. So the statistics are pretty staggering to me, and I think for the school department too. Our kids are vaping. Our statistics in the article, like we had talked about, show that there's an 8% vape. Kids in 8th grade are at an 8% are already trying to vape.
That's 8th grade. So we're talking middle school. So you got 8% of your middle schoolers have already tried vaping.
28% in the 10th grade and 30% in the 12th grade. And that means that they have tried it or are still currently vaping. Those numbers are very concerning.
That's a third of your graduating seniors are vaping.
And that's addictive. And we as parents don't even know if our children are vaping because of the product. You don't know what it looks like. You don't know what a Juul pen looks like. You don't know what some of them look like thumb drives. So I think that also for us, as from CORE's point of view, is that we want to educate our parents and our community to look for these products that your children are using. And we will be doing some of that come springtime publicly for the community. The schools are doing what they can do currently. And we talk about it on a regular basis. It was interesting, though, when the scare happened and there started to be some deaths. And I think what people don't understand is that these deaths happened within a year period of somebody starting to use vaping.
Right.
And it is what's in the vape product that is causing those deaths or those illnesses. I think that our numbers have probably gone down, and according to the kids, they're saying they're trying to stop or it's not cool anymore, so it's not the thing to do. So I think that is a good thing for us.
Yep.
But we have that group that's now addicted. What are we going to do for them?
Yeah.
Where do we get them help? How do we get them help? So those are
and how do we? And I think too, how do we prevent them from starting?
Right.
Because that's always been part of the issue, whether it was smoking or weed or whatever it was. It's like, how do you prevent kids or binge drinking? It's like, how do you prevent them from starting?
And it was promoted as a healthy thing to do.
Sure, it was promoted as a here's we're going to wean you off of tobacco. Yeah, this is better than tobacco.
And
sure,
tobacco.
it's like it's just vapor, so that's safe. That's good. But the other piece of it is, well, there are several other pieces of it, but one of them, and Joe touched on it, is what they're putting into the.
Correct.
What is the thing called, like the jewel or whatever? What is that called? Is there a name for that?
Yeah, the one common denominator for all of the people that got sick or died from the vaping was a vitamin E component that was added to whether it was liquid or whether it was nicotine salts.
Okay.
Because what happens is when that gets heated and inhaled, it actually turns acidic in your lungs. So
Gotcha.
That is not something that's commonly put in like the regular, stuff that you can buy legitimately.
So you have to kind of wonder. So what was the idea behind putting the vitamin E in the first place?
I'm not sure why. I don't know why.
You know what I mean?
It's
like I always, I always kind of wonder. It's like, okay, if you're trying to get a high or something like that, I can, it's like, well, this was put in because you'll get a better high. But what's the thing with vitamin E? I don't really.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I guess we'd have to go back and research. It was kind of more of a black market thing, so
Yes.
it wasn't like any of the major manufacturers were adding this.
Right,
It was just one of these things that maybe it was a cheaper ingredient than some of the legitimate stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Exactly.
And that piece about the black market part of it is, our kids legally aren't supposed to be having access to vaping products.
Materials. Yeah.
So they are and have found access to the black market.
Sure.
And they're also making their own. So that in itself is a whole nother level of concern.
Sure.
So, are your kids making their own vape? Are they making their own pens? They don't have the same filtering mechanisms as one if you purchased it, at a legal store.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's just like a whole other level of, things that we have to worry about
It
as
is.
parents. But, it's like anything else. I mean, please don't bury your head in the sand. And, please don't think my kid's not doing this, because every single parent that I've talked to who's had a child who's vaped, it was a shock. It was a surprise. Like I didn't know my kid was doing this, and this was even back before we knew how dangerous it could be. But it was like, oh, I can't believe my son got involved in this, or my daughter's doing this, and now of course there's people are really concerned and worried about it, as they should be.
Right.
So
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it's kind of overdue for us, where we had been asked in the past to kind of have a display of all of the different devices that we could show parents at certain events, so that they can see this is what a mod looks like, this is what a Juul looks like, this is what a e-cigarette. So we're overdue for that.
Yes.
And that's one of the things Kathy was mentioning. So, but still, you're right. Don't bury your head in the sand, parents. You have to educate yourself. We can help you. We can help to educate you. But until that happens, don't pretend like this isn't prevalent in kids of a certain age, because it is.
Yeah.
So, take the time. I mean, really, all you got to do is go on the internet. I know everybody's busy, okay, but these are your kids we're talking about, right? So go on the internet, do some Google searches on vape devices, and keep your eyes open, because there are some very, very easily can be misconstrued as a computer component. One of them.
The first time I saw it, I went to a training, and it was really on smoking cessation. But then we got into the vaping thing. This was a couple of years ago, and she had, she like opened up this suitcase because I had no idea what any of these products looked like. So she opens up the suitcase, and I said, "Oh, that's like a thumb drive for a computer?" She goes, "No, that's a Juul. This is a this, that's a that." And then she had like just this. I mean, they looked like little like aromatherapy things with all of the different, this is bubble gum, and this is spearmint, and this is,
this is
cupcake and right out cotton candy, and whatever. It was like I was shocked. So I can imagine some of the parents, who are kind of seeing this stuff for the first time. But I think it's really important that they do know, because you don't know what you're looking for.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It is, yeah. And I mean, we have come a long way, quite honestly, since the very beginning when this all started to be kind of mainstream. It was like the Wild West back then.
Yeah.
It was so scary, because just like what you were talking about with all the flavors and these little jars and stuff, there was a time where people used to have this stuff, and they call it juice, right?
Yes, juice.
So they would have it at home, and all of the stuff back originally did not have a childproof cap on it.
Oh,
so we ran into some problems where there was
Okay.
actually, little kids running around the house, hearing the parents call it juice, 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 and see it sitting there on the counter, and guess what
goodness, yeah,
happens? So,
absolutely.
So we have,
Wow.
there have been little steps, baby steps along the way.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is just the relative ignorance of the legislators and also parents.
Yeah.
And it just needs to get. We have to really get out there more and say, this is what this stuff is, and educate yourself. Go into one of these stores, look around, see what the products are.
Yeah.
It takes 5 minutes.
Okay, so Joe, before we're going to take a break, but before we do that, as we're talking, as I'm listening, I'm thinking lunch and learn at the senior center. I would love, kind of like what we do with the recycling thing, but to have a table where the seniors can come up. You can do a little 15-minute presentation, just like we talked about now on vaping, just so, they've got grandchildren, they've got kids that are doing this, just so they have an understanding, and then kind of have a display. So, because I know that some of those are, some of them are just going to be shocked, as I was, as to like what all this stuff actually looks like. So
We can't have a sampling station, though.
No. There will be no
do
sampling at my senior center. No
All right.
vaping sampling.
It's illegal.
All right. It is 7:45. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. If you're just joining us, my guests this morning are Joe Rouse and Kathy Cotugno. When we come back, we're going to talk about the next week's forum. So that's a big forum happening at the Senior Center next Thursday. So we will be back. This is by Little Anthony and the Imperials in honor of his birthday. It's Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Bop.
Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, pop. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, pop. Sitting in a native hut all alone and blue. Sitting in a native hut wondering what to do. Along came a native girl, did a native dance. It was like in paradise, put me in a trance. Going shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, pop. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, pop. Joined her in her dancing spree, felt my spine tingle. Held her tight and close to me, man, I'm glad I'm single. Then she showed me what to do. First I was amazed. Soon I learned a step or two, put me in a daze. Going shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, pop. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, pop. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, pop. You can do the cocoa pop, now's no time to stop. Barefoot forward, right one back, bring them side by side. A syncopate your last two steps, now you're gonna glide. Keep along the rhythm track, girls, we show them how. Now you start to arch your back, man, you got it now. Going shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, pop. 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 Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy,
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield. Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:49. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and my guests this morning are Joe Rouse and Kathy Catuno from the Health Department, the City of Westfield Health Department. So welcome back, both of you.
Hello.
This has just been a great discussion. We're learning a lot about vaping, and I've already talked Joe into coming back and doing another lunch and learn for us on vaping. I just think it would be super interesting. I think the seniors would really appreciate getting that information.
Yep.
Kathy, I want to switch over. You have a big event happening next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, at the Senior Center. So talk to us. It's a big forum. So talk to us about what it is and who's coming and what your goals and what the purpose.
Right. So
get up close to your mic so we can hear you.
A couple things have happened for our organization. One, we changed our name to CORE earlier in the fall. We used to be the Westfield Drug Task Force, and we made the decision to change our name to CORE to be more receptive to outreach, recovery, and education in the community on all substance uses. So one of the things that we decided to do was to do a community forum roundtable to talk about our substance use in our community. And my philosophy is that it really takes a village for us to protect our children, make the changes that need to happen, and support everybody in our community. So we decided to do a community forum to reintroduce ourselves, talk about our plan of action, but also we need to hear from the community what their concerns are, what they would like to see change in our community regarding substance use. I think that it's a topic, honestly, that we shuffle under the rug, and I think that it needs to not be there anymore. We have some concerning results for Westfield and our community, and I worry about our kids, and I think that we need to make those changes to support our kids, put some initiatives in place at a younger age so that they really can make great decisions when it comes that time in their life that they are going to make choices that we as parents don't agree upon, but they have the information to say yes or no, and not feel pressured because all of your peers are drinking or all your peers are smoking, that they are confident in themselves to stand up to say no. So our hope is with this community forum is to bring the community together to start those conversations and put some things in place to happen over the next few years to really make a change.
So, Kathy, I know that you've been getting, the word has gone out about the forum. I know that you've been getting RSVPs for people. So, who are the types of people that are going to be attending the forum?
So, we have invited everybody from the judge at our courts to community businesses, to city
councilors. I know. It's interesting because I keep running into people who are saying, "Oh, I'm going to see you next week. I'll be at the Senior Center for the CORE Forum," and I'm delighted. I had a couple city councilors who mentioned it, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I didn't realize that they were, invited," which was great. I mean, I think that's great.
Right, and we also invited a group of parents.
Okay.
Some of those parents have young children. Some of them have high schoolers. We also invited parents who that I personally know are struggling with substance use within their family, be it a family member or their own personal child. And I've also invited parents who have lost children to substance use. I think that we all have a wealth of information to share. I think the other thing that happens in this topic is that we all work on our own silos, and we never cross paths.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping with CORES that we can bring us all together and have a central location so that we all know what each other is doing or where to find resources. And so that's our plan of action. I'm very excited for next Thursday.
I am too. Because the more people I talk to, the more people keep saying to me, "I'll see you next week." So I keep. That's why I ask.
Right.
The first thing I ask is like,
Praying for no snow.
Do we have an idea of numbers? Yeah, no, we're not going to have snow.
But we do have a snow date
yeah.
for the following
following
Thursday, the
week,
23rd, which
Yep.
will be great.
Yep, absolutely. So, just to kind of give a historical perspective to our listeners, so the task force was really started when we had that crisis of several overdose deaths in a relatively short period of time.
Correct, in
And it's
2016.
right, and it's those kinds of tragedies that, make us take our head out of the sand and say, well, maybe we do have a problem. But I think, one of the issues now is that we haven't seen those kinds of headlines. So I think that we have people in the city who think, well, it's no longer a problem. Everything's under control. And I think you're here to tell us that's not the case.
That's not the case.
Yeah. We wish it were, but it's not the
right.
case.
And our statistics, right now for 2019, hold me for this.
That's okay. That's all right. I know. She's searching in the article for stats.
Yeah, it's the overdose rates and the
right have not
the deaths, right?
Have not changed. They've actually escalated over the last few years. I think and don't hold me to this, we are somewhere at about 73 non-fatal overdoses
Okay.
for 2019. So that's this past year.
Yeah.
And 13 deaths to overdoses.
Yeah, I just looked at that the other day. And,
right.
And just to take it back a little bit, when you asked about the origin of the whole drug task force. So you're exactly right. It all came from deaths, stories in the media, people in Westfield dying overdose. And brought together a whole group of people, primarily, city councilors, a mayor, fire chief, police chief, myself, and sat at a table. And credit to Brian Sullivan when he said, we got to get something going here. This is bigger than all of us can handle, right? Mm-hmm. So he established that drug task force. Very good idea. Problem is that, and kind of like what you guys were talking about, that went on, and it went pretty well, and we had some nice presentations,
a lot of
and
press,
speakers, and things like this, and we really hit the ground running with that. And then over time, it lost a little bit of steam because it stopped being the top news story of the day.
Yeah,
nothing had changed behind the scenes,
right.
And so that's why with this, and that's why we have Kathy, is because we all know that between mayor, police chief, fire chief, we can't keep this up on our own. We have other things that we have to focus on, and this is definitely, it warrants somebody to do specifically just this, because the problem hasn't gone away, even though you don't hear about it.
Yep.
And I keep saying this over and over again. It's like we have to go back and get a little bit more steam behind us like we used to, and get this going so that we can draw that line at some point. I keep saying I don't want to be sitting here 10 years from now and having this conversation about overdoses and deaths.
Yes.
Okay, so something's got to happen.
Yep,
so
exactly. There was that you triggered something, Joe, and it just went right out of my head, but that's okay.
And one of the initiatives that we have started, and there was another article in the paper from the police department discussing this, is in our title, we're doing outreach. And one of those outreach things that we have started is the community police department is currently going out on just about a weekly basis to see people who have recently had a non-fatal overdose. It's not a policing visit. They are going out with a social worker and a nurse to offer them help.
It's a well-being visit.
It's a well-being visit.
Yep.
We're offering them Narcan. We're offering them, if they want to have services, if we even offer, do you want to go to detox? Do you want to go into an inpatient facility? We help make those arrangements.
Yep.
So we're hoping in the long run, the overdose happens and then it kind of just dissipates, or it's back on the family level to take care of things. By having this follow-up, our hope is down the road, those, and unfortunately it is true, there are repeat
Sure. Yes.
overdoses.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's those people that we would like to get not to be always under the police radar,
Yep.
but under the outreach radar,
Yep.
so that they're receiving services. There's a mental health piece to this.
Absolutely.
So if we can start providing those services, we will increase or decrease
Yep.
our overdose rates, and also offer some stability to their life and for the families. We're also offering services for the families and resources where they can go and find help and get support. So that is all part of CORE, and then helping the police department provide those services.
Right, and it's so funny that was the thing that went out of my head, was the involvement of the Westfield Police Department as well as the Westfield Fire Department. Because of course you got the EMTs and you have the police, and it wasn't until we opened the senior safety office at the senior center, and I've had multiple conversations with Officer Carbonneau, and it was really Mark who said to me, if you think this isn't a problem anymore because it's not out there and we're not talking about it, he said, trust me, we are getting calls every single day with overdose issues. I mean, he said, and just really dangerous stuff going on out there. So, so we will have representation next week at the forum from police and the fire, obviously, and a lot of others as well. If there's someone, Kathy, that would like to participate in the forum, can they get a hold of you?
Please.
Give us a phone number. Can you give a phone number?
413-642-9322.
I know, you never call yourself. It's hard to remember to do
Right.
that.
So that is my office number.
Yep.
And also, if you have the article,
yeah, there's lots of contact information. That was in
information there, and certainly we are still taking RSVPs.
Yep.
We would
Call the
love
health
to.
department if you need to do that. You can call me at the senior center. I can pass the information along
And
to Kathy.
it'll be a round table discussion.
Yep.
So that you don't have to talk about your personal things, but you can at least input on what is needed or where you would like to see help
Right.
come to the
And we have 6 at a table at the senior center, so you don't have to feel like you're broadcasting this to 75 people in a room. Kathy Rouse, there you go. There's a new one.
have a
Kathy
cousin with that.
Coutinho, Joe Rouse from the health department. I decided to shorten it, just put you two together.
Time short.
Time short. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thanks for the discussion on vaping and for letting us know about the CORE Forum next Thursday. Again, if you're interested in attending that, you can either call the health department. You can certainly call me at the senior center, 562-6435, and I will get that information to Kathy. Best of luck with that. And Joe, we're going to come up with a date for you to do the Lunch and Learn on vaping. I think that'll be a really interesting
Look
program.
forward to it.
All right, folks, it is 8:02. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. And Joe, what's your parting words?
Stay healthy, my friends.
There you go.